Hey guys, so I know I said yesterday that I was going to let you know before I went live. The day kind of got away from me, so I wasn't able to get a post out, but I'm coming to you guys now. Hopefully some of you can jump on and listen. If not, just listen later on. Yesterday I talked to you guys about self-doubt and how it's difficult for people to admit when they doubt themselves, and it's just a hard situation all around. It's hard for moms, it's hard for adults, it's hard for kids. Kids have self-doubt. But let's get down to talk about why we do it, why we doubt ourselves. We have those tiny little voices that pop up in our heads and they're like, oh, you thought you could do that? Just kidding. You're not doing that today. And they really come from our subconscious. I know that sounds a little weird, but it's kind of the truth, guys. If you sit down and think about it, because you probably haven't thought about it before. I never thought about it before. I didn't realize how often my subconscious was actually in control, because here's the deal. You're born into this world, and as soon as you start to take things in, you take them in completely without knowing any better. So you're taking things based off of sound, sight, facial expressions, words, expressions that you hear when you're just a little child. And your conscious mind actually doesn't develop until you're like a teenager. So you get all these beliefs and all these comments and all these things built into your head before your conscious mind can actually develop it, and that's what is held in your subconscious mind. So all these thoughts that are in your head of you not being able to do something, or you're not being able to make enough money, not being pretty enough, it's all there to begin with before you even realize it. And our subconscious mind is in control way more than what we think it is. And that goes hand in hand with our self-perception and the way we look at ourselves. It's kind of crazy to sit there and think like, I can't complete an 80-day workout program. Well, I'm going to do it. And I'm going to do it because I want to do it, and because I know deep down inside that I can do it. You have to think of it kind of like this. Your subconscious is kind of like a little kid that doesn't know any better, because that's when you're hearing all these things and you're a little kid and you don't know any better. And it's kind of like what's a good way to describe it? It's kind of like in the book, You Are a Badass by Jen Sincero, she talks about there being a source energy. And when you're connected with this source energy, you are going to do amazing things. I kind of don't fully agree with what she's talking about in that specific chapter, but the one thing that I do agree with is the more positive you are about yourself, the more positive you are about the things that you can do, the more you're going to complete those things. The more negative you are, the more negative attention you're going to bring to yourself, and that's what is debilitating to us. That's what's stopping us from living the most amazing lives ever. So you have to be present. You have to be present. We all have to be present with ourselves. Instead of worrying about what could have happened and what will happen and what should happen, instead, why don't we just sit here, take a couple seconds and look at what's happening now. Everything that we already want is already here. Like, it's in the present. The job you want is already here. The money we want to make, it's already here. Now it's up to us to go out and get those things. There's a lot of other things that were talked about in the first section of the book. The book is You Are a Badass by Jen Sincero. I'm not going to sit and I'm not going to pick apart every single chapter for you guys, because realistically, go get it, download it on your Kindle, get it on, go out to Barnes and Nobles. I like to buy my books because I like to highlight, because there's things that sometimes I need to go back and I need to reread, and I need to remind myself of these things. So, read along with me, guys, if you want to. You can read more about when she talks about the source energy that we're connected to. And there's a whole chapter about being present in our present lives. There's also, that very first chapter is what got me hooked. That very first chapter was kind of what made the most sense to me when it talks about our subconscious is the things that make us do it. And I really, really would suggest you guys going out to get this book. There's 5 sections in the book. a few chapters in each section, so when I come live to you guys, I'll talk about my biggest takeaways from each section, and if you want to know more, then grab the book and we can go further into discussion with you guys. I'd love to hear what you guys think about the book. Hopefully you guys are having a fabulous Saturday. Thanks so much for hopping on, for those of you that listened, and thank you to those that will listen afterwards. I know this topic doesn't necessarily pertain to everyone, but you know, maybe you'll take something away from this. Maybe you'll realize that the reason why we are doubting ourselves is because the beliefs that are in our subconscious, and you know, once we can push those to the side and we can get past those beliefs, you know, the entire world will be yours and you can do anything you want to do. Thanks so much, guys, and have a good afternoon.